What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully, you guys are doing awesome and taking care of yourselves. Today, we're going to talk about a man who states he was recruited by some black ops security force through Craigslist. And then we're also going to talk about a story revolving around a green door appearing in the desert of, it was in New Mexico. Let me pull this up here. A mysterious green door, yeah, in New Mexico, that's appeared on a mountain trail while a hiker was hiking. So two stories today, and I think it warrants it because it's been a day or two since I've been having a chance to get out on here, and I haven't been feeling that great. Feeling like I had a head cold, so I apologize, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best, and I hope you guys are doing well. I mean, I know there's a lot of illnesses going around, but the like they say, the show must go on, and I like to do these. So let me tell you first about this weird story, and I'll even play the video. So I was flipping through TikTok looking for some interesting stories, and I came across this gentleman. Let me pull it up here. He goes by the name Homer. Funnily enough, right? Homer. Come on, Homer Simpson. But he says it's just Homer. That's it. And his story is that he went to go for a job interview off of Craigslist. The job interview said it was going to pay him $1,000 a day to do security, and he's like, "Well, what the hell? It's worth it. Let me go check it out." So I was like, "Wow, this is an interesting story. Let me go share it with my viewers." So I'm gonna play this video here and let you check it out and let you listen to it.
Hey, so I just got out of this. I found this. It was supposed to be like a rent-a-cop at supposed to be some sort of rent-a-cop at like a convention center. But what caught my eye, it was supposed to be $1,000 a day, paid. $1,000 a day, daily paid, and I was like, it's too good to be true. So I show up to this office place right here, and there was like 10 dudes. There were like 6'5" beef fluffy dudes with like this camera and all this on them. I was like, yo, what am I walking into right now? He was like, and he shook my hand. I was like, dude, just about broke my hand. And I was like, hey, I'm coming, I'm Josh, and I'm coming to interview for the security little job. I'm supposed to wear a vest and all that. He was like, oh, yeah, you're on. You start tomorrow. You'll make your first mission tomorrow. I was like, what the mission? What are you talking about? I'm just here to start, try to get this, rent-a-cop job or whatever. And I found this job on Craigslist, and everything went through. Everything was good, and but I feel a little weird about this. Beefy dude, they took my phone too. They took my phone, and I don't know what they did. They put a passcode on my phone when I got it back, and I was like, "Yo, what's the code on my phone?" He was like, "Oh, blah blah blah." I was like, "Why'd you touch my phone?" He was like, so it was weird as shit, and I was like, so what's up with the job? Do I come start tomorrow, whatever? He was like, yeah, no, my guy's gonna bring your gear tomorrow. I was like, what gear? He was like, you'll figure out more tomorrow on your first mission. I was like, yeah, no, not doing anything like that. He was like, he'll bring your first paycheck tomorrow as well. I was like, yo, that's weird. So you got to be careful what kind of jobs you put in on Craigslist. All right, over and out, y'all. Peace.
Okay, so that's the story, right?
Hey, y'all.
That's. I thought that was really weird, and I was like, I listened to it like 10 times. I watched him, talk about it like 10 times, and I was watching his facial gestures and everything. I'm like, is he lying? Is he serious? I mean, he's a big guy. His voice isn't like deep, but he's a bigger dude. He's like 260 pounds, and I was like, and I'm looking at his facial features. I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character because I've been, doing working in the mental health field. I've done sales. I've done everything. Well, not everything, but I've done those two things. And I was like, well, this guy seems legit. Just the way he's like making eye contact, even though it's a camera. Like, I feel like you're lying. I would assume it wouldn't be as easy as he'd made it. So he made a second video about them coming to like coming to his house because he didn't take the job, but he signed the paperwork to take the job. So he said they came to his house, and I was like, "Nah, come on, man, they didn't come to your house." So I wanted to show you because what's interesting is that they came to his house and gave him all this stuff. They gave him all this gear. So and he shows it on camera too, and they gave him like $3,500 to start, and he shows like all the cash. So I'm like, Jesus, well, like, is this like legit, like underground shit or what? So I wanted to share this with you too. I'll play this little mini video, this next video here for you.
Crazy security job interview. So the guys I was telling you about last night, well, they end up showing up to the property. Don't know how the F they got the location. Must have been from the phone. They bring me my gear, right? A riot helmet, bulletproof. They bring me my first day pay, $3,500 cash. They're trying to, like, get me all hyped up. I had $10 to my name till they bring me $3,500 cash, and they were like, "This is for your first 4-hour mission." They bring me, I'm not gonna even say, a walkie-talkie. They bring me some other stuff, and yo, this is wild. I was like, "Yeah, no, dude, what? Why are you even here? I don't even know." I was gonna be a security job at a convention center, right? And it was paying $1,000 a day, and non-armed, and this one is armed. This one is armed, and yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure about this, y'all. And so, why do I need a riot helmet, bulletproof? Why would I need that? And they were like, sit on it till Friday morning or whatever. And I told them, "Yeah, no, I'm good, yo. I'm good. Take this stuff. Take this money. The money would."
So anyway, I'm going to stop it right there. So it's interesting because there's a lot of people in the comments section saying, what kind of job could this be? What could this, why would they be giving them this much money? Could this be like how they're recruiting people for like World War III, or like a martial law kind of situation? We have Trump coming up, with his presidency too. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know how these guys get recruited. Sometimes it's all through the military. Sometimes they might get people. Shit, who knows? Like, there's all kinds of psyops that are out there, where they go through Craigslist and they go through these back channel ways of hiring people, and they're doing it all cash. He shows the 3,500 cash, and he seems like a pretty legit guy. And and then I kept watching his videos, and he's like, "Oh, they came to my house, and I told them I wasn't going to do the job, and they slashed my tires, and they did all this shit, and da 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 da." And I'm like, "Okay, I see what's going on here." So basically, this dude is making a put on, right? He's totally created this fictional story, but he's a damn good actor. He really got me, and I was really surprised because I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character, but this guy really got me because he seems a little dopey, and he seems like kind of like a backwoods kind of dude. And I got nothing against backwoods kinds of guys, but I wouldn't suspect that a backwoods guy would like make a video to like totally trick people. So it really took me for a loop. But I watched a couple more of his videos. He's been pumping them out like one a day or two a day, just to kind of continue this story, because he's getting a lot of views. He's gotten like, a 250,000 views on one video, 250,000 views on another video. So anyway, I thought that was interesting because I've also done recruiting, and I thought, well, you know I'm looking at recruiting jobs, and I've looked at recruiting jobs before, and I said, well, I've wanted to work for the government. I've always wanted to work for the government on some kind of scale, and I was looking up for jobs, and a government recruiter job came up. and it was for an independent company, but they recruit special intelligence and kind of black ops kind of guys too. And I'm like, well, isn't this interesting? I'm like, well, I'd love to do that. Let me see if I can get that kind of a job. Maybe I could learn more about the community that way. The military intelligence community that way. That'd be great. You know, but you have to have special clearance. They have to clear you, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to pass the special clearance or not. Not that I've done anything wrong, but if they listen to this podcast, they'll be like, probably not this guy. So, but I think that's interesting because they actually have specialized recruiters and specialized companies that are private to recruit these guys. So they want you to be like in the military, not in the well, maybe some previous military experience or experience in recruiting military ops guys. So I probably won't get it because I haven't recruited those guys, but I figured, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. I'll apply and see if I get it. So the other story that I came across was the green door in the desert. And that one is on phantomsandmonsters.com. So that story talks about a bizarre green door on a New Mexico mountain trail that it states could be a portal to a weird dream world. So this person wrote in and stated that I found a standing doorway in the brush. I was on a mountain trail near my campus, which was Tortuga Mountains, near New Mexico State University. While I walked that trail probably a dozen times before this point, I had never seen it before. Something to note about this trail is that there are some old ruins nearby. So fragments of buildings, usually doorways and parts of stairs, were not uncommon. Boy, that'd be strange, wouldn't it? Just be walking along a trail and there's just like random stairs and things like that. I actually have done a podcast about a random set of stairs in the middle of nowhere that people thought led to, some other dimension or something like that. It's always fun to listen to those kinds of stories. But anyway, this individual wrote that this doorway was different. For a start, it was just a door frame and a door, no attaching walls or ruins. As he says, as well, the door seemed very modern. It was painted light green, and a door handle was metal. So he said it looked very modern. It looked like an ordinary modern house door. Grass had grown up around the bottom, implying that it had been there for a while. Like I said, I'd never seen anything like it before, I'd never seen this door. Even though I've walked the trail a few times, I couldn't have missed it either. I was right on the narrow trail, completely across the track, and I walked into the grass, and it was surrounded by grass. Like it had grass grown up around where the door was. There was plenty of room to walk up and go around it, but I was curious as it was slightly ajar, so I opened it fully, having to drag it through the grass and dirt that had built up around the door's base. So this thing seems like it had been there for a while. And he says he stepped through it. Immediately something felt off. The best way to describe it is like a strong deja vu. Everything took on a weird dreamlike atmosphere, and I felt like I was outside of my own body. The trail looked the same ahead of me, but it all flickered like in a heat haze. Kind of like those humidity lines you see, that are an oasis or whatever you want to call it. And the colors were very saturated. The strange dream feeling faded slightly, and I was overcome with sudden dread. I darted back through the door again. Immediately, everything felt normal. I looked through the door from where I was now standing, and the trail, it also looked normal. So I closed the door, I walked around it, and nothing strange happened for the rest of the walk. I went back up the trail several more times, but I never saw the door again. A lot of freaky things are reported on that mountain. I like this story. The story has some similarity to other stories about people seeing doors in, strange places. But this is a different one in the fact that it's like in New Mexico. It looked like a new door. It looked like grass and dirt had grown up around it. He walked through it and he said he felt like he was like in a dream state, like he came out of his body. Could that have been psychosomatic, kind of like his own brain working against him, kind of creating the reality that he wanted to see subliminally? Maybe. But a lot of weird things happen in New Mexico. And let's face it, New Mexico is where we have a lot of different bases and a lot of different testing grounds. We test a lot of, or we have tested a lot of weapons in Nevada and New Mexico. Those two places in particular. Arizona apparently has been spared. But New Mexico, they blow shit up there all the time. Nevada, they blow shit up there all the time, or at least they used to. I mean, hell, even in, I think it was New Mexico. Yeah. If it wasn't New Mexico, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's New Mexico. They even had to bury a alien ship out there and state that the Atomic Energy Commission posted a humongous plaque that said, "Do not come around here. Do not dig within 3 miles of this area, as it has previously been used as a nuclear test site." So we know there's all kinds of strange explosions for nuclear devices out there. And when you explode nuclear devices, according to aliens and alien abductees, it messes with the space and the time and creates portals sometimes. A lot of people like to go. They like to go out to what's Sedona, right? And Sedona is like a very mysterious place in that it has all kinds of weird things happen, and people feel magical when they go there. Why do these places feel that way? Because they do have something going on. They have something special happening around them. So it is interesting. I find this fascinating. I find that it's possible that these places could have a portal to them, and they could have something special happening. And I've heard other stories where people were traveling on the road and they came across a bar, and they went into the bar and they encountered some people that they would have never thought they would have encountered before. And it looked like the 1980s, but then they went they left the bar and traveled down the road and came back, and that bar was completely gone. Just really strange stuff. So who knows? I think that there's a lesson to be learned here, is that I believed a guy's story at the beginning of this podcast that turned out not to be true. But you do your due diligence and you do a little bit of digging. You can find out what's true, hopefully. And that a lot of people are out there just making up stuff. That is not, that's not my goal. My goal is to report, the truth, or at least, what I think is the truth. But I think it's important to kind of show that there's a lot of like disinformation stuff out there too. They'll post out all kinds of stuff. The government would, part of their psyop, part of their disinformation campaigns. So you got to stay vigilant on what you read. You can't believe everything that you read, but if there's enough corroborating evidence, you have multiple witnesses, you have people that one person corroborates another person's story, and that kind of thing. That's the kind of detective work sometimes we have to do to find out the truth. But in the meantime, it is kind of interesting to explore these stories and kind of talk about them and see if anybody else has had a similar story. I'm sure, I'm 100% sure people have got some crazy jobs off of Craigslist. So there's no doubt about that. Craigslist is like, the back page is kind of sketchy. So, but people still go on there. I can't believe it because it feels like it's like a 1990s thing, but apparently people still go on there. Anyway, guys, take care of yourselves. I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you have a great day. Stay warm. Take care of your friends, your family, and your loved ones. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Till next time, guys, take care. Love you. Please go like, follow, share, subscribe. Lockdown Universe out. Peace.